Dhamdhirye Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, pure devotional service, text 13, 14 onwards. So now Krishna is going to explain some qualities of a devotee. Basically, he talks about 35 qualities that a devotee has to very high degree. So these qualities is what we have to see if we have developed and to what extent, and if not, we have to work on these, because these are the qualities uh, that's what makes a one dear to Krishna. Text 13, 14. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitraha karuna evacha nirmamo nirankaraha sam dukkha sukha kshami santushta satatam yogi yatatma dhrida nishchayaha maya arpit mano buddhir yo mad bhakta same priyaha. One who's not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who's equal in both happiness and distress, who's tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. Wow, I think like when I discussed these qualities in class earlier, everybody was thinking we should take a printout of all these qualities and paste it on our walls. We should at least read them every day. Hopefully, we'll develop these qualities to a certain extent. See, Krishna starts with Adveshta, one who's not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities. Can we imagine? Even to Pakistanis. Right now, there's so much of war drums being beaten up between India and Pakistan and Hindus and Muslims. To all living entities. It's not easy to become a devotee. Sometimes people say, oh, bhakti is so easy. Well, show me somebody who has developed all these qualities. Maybe Prabhupada has, not just maybe, he definitely has. But just think of who has these qualities, who does not think himself a proprietor. And we think ourselves, I'm the controller, I'm the owner of this, whatever I have, and is free from false ego, who's equal in both happiness and distress, who's tolerant, always satisfied, self-control, and engaged in devotional service with determination. His mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. So previous verses, Krishna went from devotional service, fixing our mind on him, to following the rules and regulations, to working for him, to giving up some fruits of the results, then to, if can't do that, then do Hatha Yoga, or Dhyana Yoga, or the Jnana Yoga, or do some pious activity, do something, Krishna was like, coming down to that point. Now Prabhupada is saying, coming again to the point of pure devotion service, the Lord is describing the transcendental qualifications of a pure devotee in these two verses. A pure devotee is never disturbed in any circumstance, nor is he envious of anyone, nor does a devotee become his enemy's enemy. He thinks this person is acting as my enemy due to my own past misdeeds. So it's better to suffer than to protest. Wow, how many of us think that? It's better to suffer than to protest. then they protest. No, not even protest. Forget about taking a revenge. Not even protest. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-8, it is stated, Tatyanu kampam susamnikshamano bhunjane vatma kritam vipakam. Whenever a devotee is in distress or has fallen into difficulty, he thinks that it's the Lord's mercy upon him. He thinks, thanks to my past misdeeds, I should suffer far, far greater than I am suffering now. So it's by the mercy of the Supreme Lord that I'm not getting all the punishment I'm due. I'm just getting a little by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, he is always calm, quiet, and patient, despite many distressful conditions. See, this is, and just imagine, when Krishna says this is the quality of a devotee, I mean, a devotee who has these qualities is very dear to me, means everybody in the spiritual world in Golok Vrindavan, they have these qualities. That's why they get eligible to enter Golok Vrindavan. And those who are Nitya Siddha, those who are living there eternally, they already have these. So these are the qualities we have to develop. There's no other way around. Of course, by performing devotion service, by chanting, we do develop these qualities to a certain extent, slowly, slowly, slowly. But since our chanting is not that pure, not that powerful, the way we chant, the way we do devotion service, it's full of offenses and inattentiveness. So these qualities will take long time, very long time to develop in us. So chanting is great. Obviously, chanting is the basis of our bhakti. Um, but at the same time, we have to, like we said, we can take a printout of this, paste it on our walls, and work on these qualities. Maybe it's like it is said 35 qualities are there. So even if we say one quality for a week, we'll work on that. We just remind ourselves. So this week, I'm not going to be envious of anybody. To start with Advaita. So remind ourselves over and over again, if we start developing some envy towards anybody, why he has something that I don't have, why he can do something better than me, why, even at job, not just in temple or business, whatever we have to constantly cross check ourselves that I have to develop this quality, I have to develop. And then next week we work on some next quality, next week we work on some next quality. So obviously, if we have worked on a quality for 1 week, at least it will stick by, it will stay with us for some time. And then again, we work on it. Again, we work on it. Idea is, idea is this is what is going to please Krishna if I develop these qualities. Knowingly, unknowingly, we develop these qualities. Therefore, he's okay. So I'm just getting a little by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, he is always calm, quiet, and patient despite many distressful conditions. A devotee is also always kind to everyone, even to his enemy. Nirmama means that a devotee does not attach much importance to the pains and trouble pertaining to the body because he knows perfectly well that he is not the material body. So, not giving much importance to the pains and troubles pertaining to the body doesn't mean we don't take care of the body. We have to take care of the body. We have to look after the body because this body is given by Krishna for us to use it in His service. But at the same time, we have to get above the bodily consciousness. I'm not this body. That's great. But I have to take care of this body because this is vehicle, this is my instrument to serve Krishna. He does not identify with the body. Therefore, he is freed from the conception of false ego and is equipoised in happiness and distress. He is tolerant and he is satisfied with whatever comes by the grace of the Supreme Lord. He does not endeavor much to achieve something with great difficulty. Therefore, he is always joyful. He is completely perfect mystic because he is fixed in the instructions received from the spiritual master. And because his senses are controlled, he is determined. Because his senses are controlled, he is determined. So means if we are lacking in our determination to serve, to get up early, to chant our rounds, to maybe increase our rounds, to attend Bhagavad Gita classes, to do other services, then the senses are not in control, if we are not determined. He is not swayed by false arguments because no one can lead him from the fixed determination of devotional service. Means he has good knowledge of the scriptures, so he does not get swayed by somebody else's arguments. He is fully conscious that Krishna is the eternal Lord, so no one can disturb him. All these qualifications enable him to fix his mind and intelligence entirely on the Supreme Lord. Such a standard of devotion service is undoubtedly very rare, but a devotee becomes situated in that stage by following the regulative principles of devotion service. So Prabhupada had explained previously what are the regulative principles of devotion service, which is chanting rounds, attending Mangla Aarti or attending temple programs and reading Prabhupada's works and doing some physical service. So these are the regulative principles for devotion service. I mean, the other principles are yam, means the ones we say, I'm not going to do, like no meat eating, no gambling, no drinking, no illicit relationship. But these are the niyams, means the things that we should do, we have to do. In fact, it's very easy to remember things that we have to do. It's just basically A, B, C, D of bhakti. So A is association, B means books reading, C is chanting, and D is diet, means prashadam diet. So A, B, C, D, we are fine. Furthermore, the Lord says that such a devotee is very dear to him, for the Lord is always pleased with all his activities in full Krishna consciousness. So these are the qualities we have to develop, we have to work upon. Text 15. Yasmanodvijite loko, lokanodvijite chaya, harshamarush bhayodvegar, muktu yah sachame priyaha. He by whom no one is put into difficulty, and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. So he by whom no one is put into difficulty means no hinsa. Hinsa means to put anybody in any kind of distress, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, anyway. That is hinsa. So Krishna is saying one should be ahimsak if he has to be devotee. A few of a devotee's qualifications are further being described. No one means no one is put into difficulty, anxiety, fearfulness, or dissatisfaction by such a devotee. Since a devotee is kind to everyone, he does not act in such a way as to put others into anxiety. At the same time, if others try to put a devotee into anxiety, he is not at all disturbed. So, who is equipoised? Equipoised means fixed, some in happiness and distress. Means he's he's steady. He doesn't get swayed by happiness or distress. It's by the grace of the Lord that he is so practiced that he is not disturbed by any outward disturbance. Again, Prabhupada is saying he's so practiced, means this has to be worked upon. Actually, because a devotee is always engrossed in Krishna consciousness and engaged in devotional service, such material circumstances cannot move him. Generally, a materialistic person becomes very happy when there is something for his sense gratification and his body. But when he sees that others have something for their sense gratification and he hasn't, he is sorry and envious. So, materialistic person, his thought process is like that. When others have something better than he has, he becomes envious and he becomes sorry. When he is expecting some retaliation from an enemy, he is in a state of fear, and when he cannot successfully execute something, he becomes dejected. A devotee is always transcendental to all these disturbances, is very dear to Krishna. So we have to develop this word came again, the steadiness in happiness and distress. Same thing was there in the previous verse and now again. So this is again very important quality to develop. Text 16. Anapeksha shuchirdaksha udasinum gatavyatha sarvaramba parityagi yo mad bhakta same priyaha. My devotee, who's not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who's pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. Money may be offered to a devotee, but he should not struggle to acquire it. If automatically, by the grace of the Supreme, money comes to him, he is not agitated. So it doesn't mean that when we do the job, when you go for a job, and so end of the month when we have to get a paycheck, we say, "Oh, I'm not attached to it." No, get the paycheck. Work for you have worked hard for it. But the thing that Krishna is saying and Prabhupada is explaining, he is not agitated. That oh, now I got the paycheck and I'll go enjoy and go to bar or something like that. Yes, it's money. It is given to us by Krishna. We have worked, but a devotee understands the capability to work comes from Krishna. The intelligence to perform our duty properly, to work, intelligence to perform our work properly comes from Krishna. And the money, obviously, it also comes from Krishna. It has come through some manager or HR or whichever department, but ultimately it comes from Krishna. So devotee should have that mentality. And so the idea is that it's given by Krishna and I should use it for service of Krishna. So if even if I'm maintaining a family, by that money, maintaining a house, maintaining other bills, but understanding that it's all for the pleasure of Krishna. This is what I'm doing for. It's not attached. Actually, a devotee takes a bath at least twice in a day and rises early in the morning for devotional service. So, well, these days it's a little cold, so that can be relaxed a little, but we have to see as far as possible we should be very clean. Thus, he is naturally clean both inwardly and outwardly. A devotee is always expert because he fully knows the essence of all activities of life and is convinced of the authoritative scriptures. A devotee never takes part of a particular party, therefore he is carefree. So carefree, it says nation. So if there are some bodily pains, he is free. The pure devotee does not endeavor for anything which is against the principles of devotion service. For example, constructing a big building requires great energy. The devotee does not take to such business if it doesn't benefit him by advancing his devotion service. He may construct a temple for the Lord, and for that he may take all kinds of anxiety. But he does not construct a big house for his personal relations. So for himself, he has very limited needs. But for Krishna, he can construct a big temple. He can take all kinds of anxiety, all kinds of pains, all kinds of endeavors he can undergo to construct a big temple for Krishna. Yo na hrishyati na dveshti na shochati na kankshati shubha shubha parityagi bhakti manya same priyaha. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things. Such a devotee is very dear to me. So again, this point comes, one who neither rejoices nor grieves. Means in the previously it was no happiness, no distress. A pure devotee is neither happy nor distressed over material gain and loss, nor is he very much anxious to get a son or disciple, nor is he distressed by not getting them. If he loses anything which is very dear to him, he does not lament. Similarly, if he doesn't get what he desired, he is not distressed. He is transcendental in the face of all kinds of auspicious, inauspicious, and sinful activities. He is prepared to accept all kinds of risks for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Nothing is an impediment in the discharge of his devotion service. Such a devotee is very dear to Krishna. So Prabhupada is saying he is transcendental in the face of all kinds of auspicious, inauspicious, and sinful activities. Means he transcends all these areas, all these activities, all these situations. He is prepared to accept all kinds of risks for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Means to construct a big temple, to run a big temple. It takes lots of risks to preach, to go out and preach. It's very risky, actually. You don't know, you never know who you're going to meet. But a devotee is ready to take that risk. And that's why that devotee is very dear to Krishna. Text 18-19. Samaha shatru cha mitre cha tatha mana apamanayo shitoshna sukh dukkeshu samasanga vivarjita tulya nindastu termoni santushto yena kenachit aniketa sthir matir bhakti man me priyo naraha. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and who is engaged in devotion service. Such a person is very dear to me. Again, the word comes. He is fixed, he is equipoised in honor, dishonor, heat, cold, happiness, distress, fame and infamy. Means Krishna will send both these qualities, both these situations to test his devotee. Is he equipoised? Is he steady or not? And And it has happened, whatever stories we read about different devotees, whatever pastimes we read about them, they have gone through it. And even while going through it, they don't lose their faith in Krishna. They don't uh, stop performing devotion service. In fact, they increase it. A devotee is always free from all bad association. Sometimes one is praised and sometimes one is defamed. That is the nature of human society. But a devotee is always transcendental to artificial fame and infamy, distress or happiness. He is very patient. He does not speak of anything but the topics about Krishna. Therefore, he is called silent. So, silent doesn't mean no speaking. Silent means not speaking anything nonsense. And anything other than Krishna, Krishna's devotion service, according to scripture, that's all nonsense. So silence means using our sense of talk in service of Krishna. Silent doesn't mean one should not speak. Silent means one should not speak nonsense. One should speak only of essentials, and the most essential speech for the devotee is to speak for the sake of the Supreme Lord. A devotee is happy in all conditions. Sometimes he may get very palatable foodstuffs, sometimes not, but he is satisfied. So no more fighting at home if Matajis don't cook according to your taste or whatever. So don't fight at home. The Prabhupada saying sometimes he may get very palatable foodstuffs, sometimes not. In fact, this is what I used to tell brahmacharis in the temple. So many times what happens, we all are sitting in the morning and taking prasadam, and the cooks also, they have to cook for like 300 odd devotees at Delhi temple in the morning. And early morning, they have to start like 5:30 or 6 o'clock. So the prasadam is ready by 9 to be served. So sometimes some things don't get cooked properly. It happens. And the brahmacharis would those who were sitting next to me, and they would complain. Obviously, their complaining is right because they get only 2 square meals in a day, in morning and evening. And if morning meal is not good and evening meal is generally very light, so where else they gonna go? So their viewpoint is right. So they would complain, oh, this is not proper and this is not cooked and this is half cooked and the roti is not cooked properly and sabji has too much oil and this. So I would tell them, boys, get married and then this same food, it will look like chappan bhog to you. Because when you're married, first you have to pay for everything, you have to earn money, and then you have to pay for everything. And then if you complain this much at house, and Mataji is definitely going to kick you out and not going to cook again or properly, whatever. There'll be big fight. So I said, right now you can complain as much as you want, but get married, and this will taste like chappan bhog. So don't complain too much. And then Prabhupada writes, nor does he care for any residential facility. He may sometimes live underneath a tree, and he may sometimes live in a very palatial building. He is attracted to neither. So this is also one of the qualities. Aniketa, that's the word that comes. Means no fixed house. Of course, it doesn't mean those who have a house, they are not devotees or they're not dear to Krishna. It doesn't mean that. Only it means is even if somebody has a house, he should think Krishna is the proprietor of this house. Of course, I still have to pay the bills. It's not that Krishna is going to pay the bills, but it's the house belongs to Krishna. That's what we should think of. He is called fixed because he is fixed in his determination and knowledge. We may find some repetition in the descriptions of qualifications of a devotee, but this is just to emphasize the fact that devotee must acquire all these qualifications. Without good qualifications, one cannot be a pure devotee. Arava bhaktasya kuto mahad guna. One who is not a devotee has no good qualification. It's a very important line. One who is not a devotee has no good qualifications. But at the same time, a devotee doesn't necessarily mean one who's in ISKCON, he's only one who's a devotee. That doesn't mean like that. It's just the qualities that he has developed. Like Prabhupada once, I believe he was in Paris or France or somewhere, and local devotees, because there's a Saint Francis of Assisi. Somehow he's very popular, and he was a very great saint. And the devotees asked Prabhupada, what do you think of Saint Francis of Assisi? Prabhupada said, you tell me about him because I don't know anything about him. So devotees told him what were his qualities and how he dealt with how he behaved with the other people. And Prabhupada, after listening to all those qualities, he said he's a devotee of a high degree. So Prabhupada recognized that the person is not an ordinary person. He's a very advanced devotee. Although he is a devotee in Christian sect, he's not from ISKCON, not from Vaishnav's following. So means a devotee can be anywhere. It doesn't mean only ISKCON has devotees, or only Gaudiya Math has devotees. It doesn't mean that. So these qualities are the ones we have to develop, and that's a devotee. One who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications. Of course, he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him develop them. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. Of course, devotional service helps a devotee develop these qualities. But previously he also says, practice. One has to practice these qualities. Text 20. Yetu dharma mritamidam yathoktam paripaste shadadhana mataparma bhaktaste ativ me priyaha. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. In this chapter, from verse 2 through the end, from Mayavesha Manoyamam, fixing the mind and me, and through Etu Dharmamritamidam, this religion of eternal engagement. The Supreme Lord has explained the processes of transcendental service by approaching Him. Such processes are very dear to the Lord, and He accepts a person engaged in them. The question of who's better, one who is engaged in the path of impersonal Brahman, or one who is engaged in the personal service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was raised by Arjuna. And the Lord replied to him so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. In other words, in this chapter, it is decided that through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby accept a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant and observe the regulative principles of devotional service with faith, attachment, and devotion, and thus become engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. So so these are the points that Rupa Goswami actually talks about. How to make advancement in devotional service and what are the different stages. Adu, Shraddha, Sadhu, Sangha, then Bhajan Kriya. This is what Prabhupada is writing. Association, one develops, um, anartha nivritti, then nishtha, ruchi, asakti, bhava, prem. Those are the steps one goes through. And from him begins to hear, means sadhu sangha, and chant and observe the regulative principles. Sadhu sangha and then bhajan kriya. So these are stages of bhajan kriya. Then anarth nivritti happens, and that's what Prabhupada is saying, with faith, attachment, devotion, and thus becomes engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. This path is recommended in this chapter. Therefore, there is no doubt that devotional service is the only absolute path for self-realization, for the attainment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impersonal conception of the Supreme Absolute Truth, as described in this chapter, is recommended only up to the time one surrenders himself for self-realization. So, impersonal conception is only up to the point one surrenders himself for self-realization. After that, devotion service takes in further. In other words, as long as one does not have the chance to associate with the pure devotee, the impersonal conception may be beneficial. In the impersonal conception, the absolute truth, one works without curative result, meditates and cultivates knowledge to understand spirit and matter. This is necessary as long as one is not in the association of a pure devotee. Fortunately, if one develops directly a desire to engage in Krishna consciousness, in pure devotional service, he does not need to undergo step-by-step improvements in spiritual realization. Devotional service, as described in the middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, is more congenial. One need not bother about materials to keep body and soul together because by the grace of Lord, everything is carried out automatically. Devotional service is so powerful, so potent. Prabhupada, one does not even need to bother about keeping the soul and body together. Means doesn't need to bother about having a job and earning money so I can do devotion service. Of course, we are not at that level that we can give up everything, rely solely, fully, completely on Krishna. So we have to do our services. But at the same time, there are devotees, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was performing his pastimes in Navadvip. So every day he would have this Sankirtan pastime in the house of Srivas Thakur. And Srivas Thakur was a Grihastha, and there were 4 brothers. All Grihasthas, they had big family, and Mahaprabhu would perform his dancing Sankirtan pastime at his house, and whole night they would dance and chant. And once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, "Oh Srivas, I don't see you doing any business or any job. How do you maintain your family? Your whole day you're doing devotion service." And Srivas Thakur in the answer, and Srivas Thakur actually is incarnation of Narad Muni in Mahaprabhu's Leela. In the answer, Srivas Thakur, he just clapped 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Srivas, I'm asking you a serious question. What is this? You're clapping 3 times. I'm asking you a serious question. How do you maintain your household and you don't even do a job?" And Srivas Thakur again clapped 3 times. And Mahaprabhu was bewildered. He said, "Srivas, okay, what is the meaning of these 3 claps? You're clapping 3 times again." Srivas Thakur very humbly, very politely, and with lots of faith and conviction, he said, "Mahaprabhu, you're the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 3 claps means And Shiva Thakur saying, and I know that you are the maintainer of everybody. You're maintaining the whole universe. Another name of Mahaprabhu was Vishwambhar. And you certainly maintain your devotees. So three claps means if you don't provide anything for our maintenance, so one day we would fast. And if you don't provide next day, we would again fast. And if you don't provide for third day, we would again fast. And if you still don't provide, we'll all go and jump in the Ganges and drown ourselves. That kind of faith is very rare. And Mahaprabhu got so pleased by this answer because Krishna loves to provide, loves to take care of his devotees, those who are fully surrendered, those who have full faith in him. Of course, he would test the faith time to time. So Mahaprabhu got so pleased by this answer of Shiva's Thakur that he embraced him and he said, even if a day comes when Lakshmi ji has to go door to door and beg, there will never be any scarcity in your house. I mean, Lakshmi ji will never go door to door to beg for money. That's never going to happen. But Mahaprabhu, the way he said, well, even if that day comes when she has to go and beg, there will still never be any scarcity in your house. And in fact, till today, whenever we go to Mayapur and we go to Srivas Angan, which is not far from ISKCON temple, and we do kirtan, we do chanting, and there's a beautiful temple there, deities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Panchtattva, and Srivas Thakur is also there. So pujaris, till today, they tell us that we don't go and do any collection in this house because Mahaprabhu has performed his Sankirtan pastime and he has given blessings to Srivas Thakur. There's never any scarcity. People themselves bring food stuff, money, and vegetables, and fruits, and dal, and chawal, and they just leave it here. So that kind of faith is very rare. That kind of surrender, mood of surrender is very rare. So, but this is what makes a devotee very dear to Krishna. That surrender. So today we finished this. Not finished. Completed the discussion on chapter 12. So these are the middle 6 chapters where pure devotion service is described. So next time we'll start with chapter 13. So last 6 chapters we will start next time. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Anybody has any question or comment?
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
I thought this chapter, the rest of this chapter, you will continue for some more time, but in one class you finished the most important verses.
They are beautiful verses, but today because it's a 1 hour class, so somehow. But
each and every quality you might go on talking for 1 hour. I thought 35 qualities, that's 3 hours.
It can happen like that, but maybe some other time we can discuss each and every quality.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Seminar on these qualities. What makes?
Yeah, we can do that, and with so many different examples from scriptures we can give.
Because sometimes we think we have these qualities. That is the biggest illusion. And when a situation arises and you see that you don't even have one of them, it's so shocking. So as you rightly said here, in the 18th and 19th verses, Krishna gives you a situation to test whether you have these extremes like fame and infamy, how you behave in these situations. So I think with examples, when you narrate these, you will be able to grasp it and know that our position is really, really very low.
Yeah. And even the first quality, non-enviousness, everything starts from there on. We do become envious. We do get the jealousy of others. Well, thanks for pointing that out.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah,
And
Hare
rightly
Krishna.
said by Radha Prabhuji, please arrange a seminar. I think weekend seminar, Prabhuji. Botheration for you, but will benefit everybody. Pra- Prabhuji, I have a question.
No,
Uh,
nothing, because everything is online.
Yeah, I have to do that screen sharing to figure that out. Yes, Pramod Prabhu, you're saying something.
yeah, Prabhuji, I have a question. In fact, it will appear very naive and very silly though. In fact, in this text 19, the purport, in fact, talking of, and you give very nice example wherein you said it's not only people who go to ISKCON are devotees, so devotee can be anybody. In fact, I want to understand, Prabhuji, oftentimes, in fact, because of my conditioning or because of my coverage, how in fact, what influence I have on or what my past has an influence on me, in fact, how would we identify whether the other person is a devotee or not? Because even if somebody is becoming non-envious, chances are because I am envious or because I am so conditioned, we tend to feel that either that person is faking or that person is kind of envious and hence kept quiet and may retaliate little later, and hence in fact, I may end up committing a aparad.
Ah, so even if we have the enviousness quality in us, at least we should be truthful or we should be patient, tolerant with others, and give them the due respect. It's very difficult. I'm not saying, and Prabhupada himself said, this is very difficult to develop these qualities. They're very rare. Anybody having all these qualities. It's very rare. But at least we can appreciate good qualities in others. We should. But we become so fanatic that only ISKCON, and not just ISKCON, then it boils down to, oh, only my Guru Maharaj's disciples. And not even that, then it comes down to only the Bhakti Vriksha or the classes I'm attending. These are the only devotees. Rest everybody, they are non-devotees. It's very dangerous, actually, philosophy, dangerous outlook. We shouldn't do that. There are wonderful devotees all over the world, and not just in ISKCON, all over. Even Islam also. I have this interfaith meeting once a month, and he's a wonderful person. He follows Islam. He's from Rampur, and the way he speaks, so much of realizations he has. And of course, he always says all the knowledge comes from Vedas. That's for sure. It's not the Quran has everything. But he says, I follow Quran. I love it. So he's very genuine person. And I really like all the qualities he has. So devotees are everywhere. That's all. Jesus Christ, a great devotee. Look at his life. And like Prabhupada talked about Saint Francis of Assisi, how he recognized him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself met Guru Nanak Dev, and there was an incident. Guru Nanak Dev, he had gone to Jagannath Puri, he always had these two servants, Bala and Mardana, with him. So Guru Nanak Dev had gone, and Pandas in Jagannath Puri, because they have this rule that only Hindus are allowed, they did not allow Guru Nanak Dev to come inside the temple. Guru Nanak Dev, he did not protest, he did not fight, he was so humble. He said, okay, yeah, I'm not qualified. So he went to the sea beach, and on the sand, some says he drew a picture of Jagannath, and he just chanted and danced over there. But meanwhile, there was time for bhoga offering to Lord Jagannath. And bhoga offering to Lord Jagannath happens in such a way, they bring all the pots of bhoga in near his altar, and the main pujari who's offering, he has a plate in his hand with water in it. And he looks at that plate, and when he sees the image of Lord Jagannath in the water in the plate, then it gets confirmed that Lord has accepted the offering. So that day he was offering, he was chanting his mantras, and he was not seeing the image of Lord Jagannath in the plate. So they understood they have committed some offense. That's why Jagannath is not accepting the offering. So then they prayed to Lord Jagannath. What is it? What happened? Jagannath said, my devotee has come all the way and you didn't let him enter, and he's sitting at the beach in this hot weather and he hasn't eaten anything. How can I eat if he hasn't eaten? So go and bring him. So then the Pandas ran and they found Guru Nanak Dev, they brought him, and then Jagannath ji ate. So it's not like in Sikhism there cannot be any devotees. It's nonsense. So we have to broaden our vision and open our hearts, actually. Impersonal. Okay, we talk about Mayavadis, and all the time Mayavadis this, Mayavadis that. So who was Shankaracharya? Is Lord Shiva himself. Of course, we don't follow the philosophy. That part, definitely no. But there could be a devotee there too. We don't know. We never know. So we have to be very careful in dealing with others. That's all. Is that okay?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for clarifying. And Koti Danvat Naam at the lotus feet, Prabhuji. And
Thank you.
please pardon me in case we have committed any offense in the past at the lotus feet.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhuji. It's all Prabhupada's mercy we have.
I think it's such a genuine thing and very nicely explained by you, Prabhuji. Brings tears in my eyes. Thank you so much.
And
So not knowing
I
or
think
unknowingly,
on tomorrow, I think we have here Nityanand Triyodashi tomorrow. I don't know in India, is it on Monday or it's on Monday?
yes, Prabhuji, 18th.
Okay. So Sunday will be Varahadwadashi then. So read about Lord Varahadev, and Monday read about Nityanand Prabhu. In fact, tomorrow's class we can do on Lord Nityanand. It's, of course, his glories are unlimited, his qualities are unlimited, his pastimes are unlimited. So we'll discuss some of his pastimes tomorrow. Okay, thank you all very much. You all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you very much. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare